A few weeks ago, multiple reports came out stating that the New York Knicks were fielding offers for Quentin Grimes, gauging his trade value and looking to see what they could trade him for and what type of player they could get back for him. But since then, the Knicks have been looking good. They've been winning games, and when healthy, Quentin Grimes has had a great impact off the bench. Since that's happened, it seems that the New York Knicks have changed their feelings on wanting to trade Grimes. And it seems like right now, they're only looking to move Grimes if a certain player is available. We're going to break down this new report and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. The Knicks have updated their trade plans for Quentin Grimes. As we said at the top of the show, the New York Knicks were looking to trade Quentin Grimes. They were actively taking offers, according to Fred Katz of The Athletic. But unfortunately, they couldn't get any type of impactful player back, so they didn't pull the trigger. One of the rumored trade packages the New York Knicks were floating out there was Evan Fournier, Quentin Grimes, and draft compensation. They were offering that to a number of teams who had interest in Quentin Grimes, but no team gave the New York Knicks a player that the Knicks felt comfortable and willing to give Grimes up for. And at least now, according to an NBA insider, we now know why. Quentin Grimes' play as of late has been so good. His value is shot up. So now it seems like the New York Knicks are not willing to move him unless it's for a player that's elite or an all-star. According to Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports, he notes that it's become clear the New York Knicks aren't willing to part with Grimes unless New York is trading the young swingman for a perceived upgrade, as opposed to swapping him for a different back-of-the-rotation piece. Grimes continues to have fans in Atlanta and Utah. The Jazz roster several players, most notably Kelly Olynyk and Jordan Clarkson, whom the Knicks still have on their radar. Fred Katz of The Athletic also weighs in on this situation about Grimes, and he states the following. Momentum has skewed away from the possibility of a Grimes trade. Though one is still possible, not much has enticed New York. The goal, as it has been for weeks, is not to trade Grimes, no matter what the best offer is. It's to use him to acquire somebody worthwhile for the long term. The Knicks haven't found that player yet. Katz continues and notes that for the New York Knicks, the hope remains to bring in someone who can hold up the offense behind Jalen Brunson and play alongside him if necessary. That player would preferably be under contract into next season and on a salary in the high teens into the low 20s, in millions of course, which would make him a worthwhile trade chip if the Knicks wanted to flip him for a star next summer. Shout out to Fred Katz and Jake Fisher, two great NBA insiders, for these major updates on the New York Knicks and how they view Quentin Grimes and a potential trade right now. It's clear, even though Quentin Grimes has been injured, when he's been playing, even though his minutes has been limited, he's been impactful. His defense has looked good. He's looked good off the bench. He's been shooting the ball well. He's been aggressive as well too, and that's been the missing part here for Grimes, because in my opinion, the reason he was taken out of the starting lineup is because he failed to be aggressive. He failed to attack. Dante DiVincenzo doesn't have that problem. When he's open, he shoots it. If he sees a lane, he drives. Quentin Grimes would oftentimes pass up those shots, and he would pass it back to the player that passed him the ball, and that's not effective in a lineup. That's why he was benched. But ever since he's moved to the bench, he's looked better. He's looked more impactful. He's been helping this Knicks team more. And I think on a reserve level, there are a lot of reserves Quentin Grimes are going to lock down. He's going to beat and he's going to take advantage of. And we've seen that in a couple of games already. So I think Quentin Grimes off the bench actually works for the New York Knicks. So there wouldn't be a rush to move him at this point in time, especially with the Knicks winning as well as they have been and looking like one of the best teams in the league in 2024. When that happens, it's obviously going to change what you're doing and your trade plans. But it was honestly a little bit of a shock to me to read these reports, because if you've been fielding offers for Quentin Grimes over the last few weeks, you've been trying to trade him for another player. Why all of a sudden would you shift from that and then say, you know what? I'm not going to trade him unless these type of players are available. Because I remember early on when the New York Knicks were actively talking with teams and trying to trade Quentin Grimes, They weren't talking about all-stars or elite players or anything like that. They were just talking about another player that they can bring here, somebody that can be impactful, that can help this team be better off the bench potentially, or who could start potentially, but at least help the New York Knicks make more noise in the playoffs. That was the conversation. Fast forward to right now, the New York Knicks winning, the New York Knicks looking like one of the best teams in the league. They changed their mindset. Quentin Grimes is not viewed in that way anymore. He's valued a little bit more. His value is clearly shot up a little bit more. And now the Knicks want a little bit more for him if they're going to trade him to any team. That's because they recognize what he is, they recognize his value, and they recognize and understand that if they're going to make a superstar trade or an all-star trade, even though Quentin Grimes' contract doesn't add up for those type of players, he's the type of player that other teams would want in that type of deal because they think young and developing assets like Quentin Grimes can be cured, can be fixed, can get better in a different environment. And if other teams believe that, that's going to give him added value. It also helps him that he's a great defender, he's a young asset, and he's also playing very well for the New York Knicks off the bench. The only thing that's going to hurt him a little bit is that he was starting for a couple of seasons, and then he was just recently benched for Dante DiVincenzo this season. No matter what you want to say, that's going to hurt somebody's value. Hopefully, though, off the bench, he continues to thrive so that value doesn't take too much of a hit. But here's another main reason why you know the New York Knicks were serious about keeping Quentin Grimes and not trading him unless an impactful player, an elite player was available that they could get back that would help the Knicks today and in the future. And according to Fred Katz, that player doesn't exist right now. But even further, check this out. Fred Katz actually reported the following about the New York Knicks and their trade inquiries with other teams. According to Katz, the Knicks have spoken with the Raptors about Bruce Brown. However, in those conversations, Grimes hasn't been part of them. Instead, discussions have centered around Evan Fournier and draft compensation for Brown. Katz also notes that the Knicks have dipped and dabbled with the Detroit Pistons about Alec Burks, who also would not command Grimes in return. But here's the key piece from Katz that lets you know exactly why the New York Knicks want to keep Grimes and what they're looking to do. According to Katz, the Knicks are still eyeing the upcoming summer for a big star trade, and they'd prefer to deal as little out of today's rotation as they can to make that happen. That's why exchanging Evan Fournier's expiring contract is such a desire for the Knicks. That point makes it crystal clear. The New York Knicks are not looking to trade Grimes unless that elite player is available. Barring that, they're looking for other deals. Clearly, they're looking to make another trade, but they want to use Evan Fournier and draft compensation to make that trade. Apart from that, they're not looking to change anything they have going on with the rotation right now. They clearly like that. They clearly like their depth, and they clearly like the minutes that they're getting from the players that are on the roster right now. And once the New York Knicks are fully healthy, we will be even more deep, have enough players on the roster that can help us. If we have injuries or other type of illnesses to deal with, then we'll have other players available to step up because like I said before, Knicks culture, Thibs culture, next man up mentality, that's true. That's real. That's led to the New York Knicks winning and looking like one of the best teams in the league. And that's why you have to give them praise for each and everything that they've done. They've made the impactful moves. They've made the trades that made sense. They have a lot of assets available left to make even bigger moves. And even if they make a move at the trade deadline for maybe a couple of first-round picks in Evan Fournier, they still have room to make other moves this offseason. That's the best thing about this team that we've not been able to say ever, I think. This Knicks team is talented. They're loaded with assets, and they still have the available space to make a move that nobody could expect for that star, superstar, or dare I say, all-star type of player. Because if they get one of those guys and can add it to the roster that they're building right now, they could be a legit contender for years to come. And I think New York, in this day and age right now, deserves it. The NBA deserves it. We deserve to hear New York City electric, alive, buzzing with playoff atmosphere vibes. Other than that, I expect the Quentin Grimes trade to be looked into further come this offseason. And if that star becomes available that the Knicks have always wanted, always coveted, and they've looked at afar, and they've desired and wanted. If that player becomes available and Quentin Grimes is going to be one of the players that that opposing team wants, and that's the centerpiece of the trade, best believe the New York Knicks are going to make that deal happen. They like Grimes. They like his fit right now. They like what they're doing. But liking what somebody's doing, liking somebody's fit, and loving another player that becomes available, two very different things. And come this offseason, I think we'll see that difference very, very clearly. But what about you guys? What do you think about this recent update here that the New York Knicks have basically changed their opinion on Quentin Grimes and how they feel about trading him? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.